it's like buying a car and saying, I'm hoping that I'm going to sell it for more.
No, you
Look,
can't do
I
that.
don't know if people know that about property, bro.
Okay,
Like,
maybe. Okay, no. But for somebody who's in the game, like if you've got enough money to buy six,
Yeah, because you should know.
you kind of should know
Yeah,
that.
if you don't
Yes.
know, then you've got people around you
maybe it's
helping
a
you.
thing of not wanting to have cash. Liquid
Maybe.
cash, liquid
Yeah.
capital, because you could end up using it on you know
On
what I mean?
drugs.
Like
The motherland, the African man. Long as I'm alive, I'ma make a plan. Strongholds to break, got long walks to take. Got no votes to make, we don't bet, we pray. Hey, African man, yeah. African man, yeah. African man, ooh. The African male iris through the eye of an African male.
I think like it's weird because everything is like so diverse. Like I mean, when we're talking about drugs, like it's so easy to get into drugs,
Very easy.
and I feel like something small like vaping. Bro, everybody vapes, bro.
Yeah.
Everybody vapes. You walk into the office, it smells like chocolates at this desk.
Strawberry. I mean, come on. What is going
Indoors, fam? Like they haven't been advertising smoking anywhere.
Yeah,
They don't even advertise vaping, but it's
sure.
taken.
It is.
Yeah.
But it's quite interesting. You know, I heard a statement that said you cannot be tempted with something that you have never thought about.
Facts.
And
No, that
for
definitely.
me, if I
Start
think
safe.
of if I think of drugs,
Mm.
like the hard drugs, cocaine, it's something that never crossed my mind. So it was never a vice.
It was never
it
a
can
thing.
never be a vice for me.
But have you been tempted with steroids?
Yes.
No, not even actually.
This tricep is taking too
Yeah.
long to pop out.
My abs.
Like,
But then you think of the usual things that I think we at one point in time we've all struggled with.
Yeah.
Like alcohol. Like with alcohol, you kind of think, okay, at what point does alcohol become
A
actual
vice.
Is it different per individual?
It
in
is.
terms of-
It actually is.
It could be financial. It could be behavioral. I don't know.
that's a hectic one for me, man. Like, I didn't drink for most of my life. I started late. Like, I think I was already working 2018.
Well done.
What?
Well done. Well done.
How did you manage
I was
that?
like 28.
What was going on with you, man?
Christian boy, man.
So you left
Wait.
that life,
So you stopped drinking at 28.
Yeah.
Wow, bro.
and then you stopped. Or
You
what?
see what I mean? Like what you're saying. Like you can't be tempted with something that you don't.
Oh, I hear what you're saying.
So it never
Right.
crossed your mind.
For me, it was never a thing. You could never get me to drink. It just was not appealing
All right.
to me. Right.
What made the
But
shift?
The shift was my environment, the company I kept.
Love. I was gonna say that.
Company.
I was gonna say the people that are around you are key. So one of the reasons I don't necessarily have a girlfriend, okay, first of all, I can't afford one. But the second thing,
Thanks for being honest.
the second reason is because the people that I hang around don't have girlfriends. So remember, like you were saying, we're about ego. I want to have a girl to then brag to the dudes, hey guys, you need to see
Yeah.
the one I'm pulling with. But we don't do that. So therefore, there's no need for me because it's not going to work in this specific environment. Right?
no
So
win.
There's no win. I
There's no
can't.
win.
There's no points.
Yeah, there's no
There's no
points.
points. I can
Yeah.
say, oh my, she's really a trophy, whatever. Because we don't roll like that. So I agree with you to say that your environment has a lot to do with what and who you become.
Like being a married dude
And-
and you only hang out with single people.
It's not. It's not no. It's not a good. It's really not a good idea.
Yep.
You know, you need to find like-minded people. And the thing is, which is always interesting for me, you can really create the life that you want. So you choose your friends. I literally, the people in my circle, I chose them. I'm like, okay, this one is money. Yeah, I can borrow for money. I can borrow money from this one. This one is intelligent. Okay, that's good. That makes sense. This one is driven, etc., etc. And I chose them, put them in my circle because I wanted that to also perpetuate in my life. So I'm not going to hang around. We can chill, but I'm not going to really like get connected with a person who is not about the life that I want in the future and the things that I want because I don't see that as helping me. So if I have if I have a vice or if I want to have a vice, let me hang out with that dude more. I'm probably going to go there. So similar to you, also PK, I've never drank in my life. 40 years, I don't drink.
Wow.
It's just not something that I do.
So fam, like so the weird thing is I started training in 2018, right? And I've always loved like bodybuilding, but I was only in a stage of my life where I could do it like in 2018. And that's the year I started drinking. And
Interesting.
This thing is like it opposes
Interesting.
training.
Okay, yeah, because it's not
Like,
diametrically opposed, actually.
It's holding me back.
Literally all the work you do from Monday to Friday.
Yeah, you just put it back.
Lose it
Yeah.
in the weekend.
And every single time, like I've been trying to stop, so that I can hit like certain body goals, and I just can't do it. It's like
hectic.
the thing we were talking about gambling and everything.
Yeah.
Like like sometimes like I lock in the mirror and I be like this and this and this. I want to take care of. I want to do this. I lock in the diet. I lock in the training. I lock in the sleep.
Friday comes.
And then
But are you still with the people? What's your environment like? Who do you hang
the
with?
environment's completely changed. I've
Okay.
moved away from that.
Oh,
Like,
right.
now I have a symbiotic relationship with alcohol.
So now
a
it's-
coping mechanism.
okay.
I never used to understand why people were like taking the
No,
edge.
they need to.
Now I know what it means. to
People
take the
really,
edge off.
you need to. Some people really need to take the edge off. I think, for me, I take the edge off with laughter in comedy. That's like I'm.
That's your release.
dude.
Yeah,
because my mom and dad. My dad is probably the funniest person I've ever met. My dad is really, really funny. My mom is funny, but my mom is mean funny. So she'll like
Sarcastic and all that. Yeah.
rip you, but she's so and all of my uncles also funny. So at the gatherings, it was just laughter, laughing, jokes, roasting, and that became what love is to me. If you don't roast me, then I'm like, can't you?
We don't like
You don't
each
love
other.
me, or are we not vibing? Like, what's going on? So
crazy.
that's my edge. So that's how I take the edge off. So if I'm struggling or I'm in a situation, I'm like, hey, let me call you a joke here. Even if it's whack, nobody laughs. It's fine. I'm good.
So would it be fair to say that your vice is being mean to people, like or like comedy at the expense of
Comedy
other people?
is my
expense of other people.
not necessarily at the expense of other people, because sometimes I self-deprecate. So I'm like, oh my goodness, I tried to walk today, it didn't work out, so I just ended up taking Uber. I tried to jog or whatever, can't fit in the sofa. It's just really to kind of just, you can literally slice through a cold environment and make it warm with just one conversation, one joke. So it's not necessarily to at the expense of other people, but it's really my go-to. It's a coping mechanism, just like you said, taking the edge off. People cope in different ways. So my coping, I cope with that
comedy.
With comedy, and maybe now as I get a little bit more self-aware. And sugar, I take too much sugar. So I think like in Cokes and the food I eat is very high calorie. So I think that's also part of
That is
coping.
another one.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you look at
And then it's a
shows
vice. So that's my vice.
Yeah, my 600-pound life.
Yes.
and, like,
Dude,
you
I'm not
wonder-
that bad.
Like extreme.
Dude, not that bad. Maybe like my 250-pound life, but
You know what, you guys.
That's my
you
vice.
guys should co-host the comedy show.
so yeah.
Some chemistry.
and like what you're saying is, and I guess this is what we also want people to understand, that everybody has a vice and everybody has
Right,
something,
right.
a crutch that they're using to walk through life.
Yeah.
You know, when I was younger and a proper PK, like proper, I used to look at like an addict and say, how could someone let their life
out like
devolve
this?
into
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
They whack. What's wrong with
we're
them?
very judgmental. to be
Very
honest, growing up.
extremely judgmental.
Yeah.
Because I was like, yeah, Baba,
'cause
we
you were
church
raised in the
there,
church and
100%.
like,
I'm better
the
than
bar was
everybody. I wasn't even touching the ground, bro. I was floating.
Yes.
Yes. So, and then I grew up a little bit, lived a life a little bit, got a little bit exposed. And when I'd see an addict, I'd say, oh, okay, that could have been me.
Right.
But it's just, it's the grace of God that has helped me to not become that.
So what's crazy for me about your
Yeah.
story is usually PKs are like the worst.
They really get crazy.
Degenerate people,
I
you
think
know?
I appreciate my parents for modeling Christ. It wasn't an instruction, love Christ. They were the Christ in the home. So it wasn't an act. Like you just see my mom and dad get along because they're in church. You know, it was always on. So seeing that model, I was like, okay, I think I like this.
With a lot of people, especially PKs,
They're
it's like,
forced.
you notice like you don't see it at home.
Yeah, so
like your
just-
parents are this moniker of
Yeah,
existence
it's
that's
just
outside the home. Like
it's a
people
figment. It's
at
not
church,
real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then at home they completely
At
different.
home,
But
they're
that's-
different
But it's
people.
also that thing where I don't know what you think about that. That you sometimes we compress, and we are guilty of it as parents.
okay.
Sometimes we compress our children, or we isolate them from certain aspects of the world.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Now you're saying, okay, my child.
Then they go to varsity
you are-
Shem.
Yeah, go to
Shem.
South Africa.
They go to UJ,
the United
yeah.
States. Then they just get
It just becomes crazy.
exposure like, all at once,
And they just lose
never
their
knew
mind.
existed.
Yeesh.
and they go back wild.
I think I think there is some very important part of what you're saying, in that exposure, if it's a deluge, it's like a flood of exposure. At one point, you might really lose it. So what I'll say finally is that, but now as I've really grown, there's just really been a shift. And so when I look at the addict, I see myself in the addict. The only difference is that my addiction is acceptable to society. I can be fat, nobody cares, but I'm just like the dude who's strung out on
care,
drugs.
bro.
People do care. Nice. But I'm just like the dude who's struggling with alcohol and sleeping in the on the road. I'm the same guy. It's the same addiction. It's just that mine is I do that in the house, and it's acceptable
I
because
think the
society.
difference is people fight back.
Yeah.
For like the body positivity movement.
Yeah.
All shapes are acceptable
Yeah.
movements, and
Which is not right,
And a lot
but-
of people fight back, but nobody's gonna be here fighting for crack.
No.
Nobody's fighting for nyaupe to be
No. Of course, to be integrated. To be
socially
integrated.
acceptable. Nobody's doing that, you know.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is like how quickly you can slip into
No, you can.
this stuff. You know
It
what
is.
I mean? Like when I'm recalling all the weird things that I've gotten, I'm like, man, I would have never done this at 25.
Yeah, of course, 100%.
You know, next thing, I met this dude in varsity. He was the first dude I met who's like, this blew my mind. It was a concept I was new to. This dude treated like smashing girls like a game.
Oh yeah,
Like for him, like he
it's
would
points.
be.
Yeah.
I never got that. Like
Yeah.
for me, it was like you need to meet the girl.
Yeah, love
and
her, take
get
care of
married.
her,
That's-
cherish her.
Fam, that guy blew my mind.
Yeah, this is the problem. Exposure. He was exposed too late.
Yeah.
And
I got that one later.
That's for saying people care. Had to get you back.
But actually, people who exposed late are the ones who can be the Shannon Sharps of the world.
That's
Yeah,
a nice.
now
the
I've got
truth
the
is, it
money.
goes
That's a
to
nice tie
it
back.
goes two
That's
ways.
a really
actually,
good
yeah.
callback. That's a really good
It goes
callback.
two ways because I think there's also like the element of like the analogy I gave earlier, where a guy is known for getting the girls. But he is known for getting the girls early, like he's in his teens, and he's a pretty boy, and the girls
Yeah.
like him, and he's charming. So now he's confident. Now he's getting the girls, and then he's not going to be excited about getting the girls at like 45.
No, it's
you
not.
know.
He's been there, done that.
Yeah, so he's different. But the guy who never got the girls to even look at him,
Oh, shame.
the moment
Then he
that guy
got a
gets
bag.
a bit of money,
He got a bag, bro.
bro, he's trying to pay
Yee.
back for those
Yeah,
years.
he's gonna
and
do
I've
it.
met a lot of guys who have completely lost like a decent sense of humanity
Man,
because they're trying to pay back
I want to take care
of that guy.
But again, and I would tie that to trauma. Because it's trauma. He was going
is.
through a space where I want the girl to look at me.
Yes,
Our human needs. I want to be heard. I want to be seen. I want to
Yeah.
be felt. He was never seen.
exactly.
So he's traumatized. Now
yeah.
I've got the bag. Are you gonna see me?
But you see,
You're gonna
I
see
feel
me.
like what happens with trauma in most cases is, especially now in this society, is people baby their traumas.
Yeah, no, they do.
And I think this is why there's almost this. That's why Andrew Tate is always so pissed off because He's
Yo, that dude is always
yeah,
angry.
we're little weak guys, you know. And I mean,
even
to
Jordan,
some extent,
Jordan Peterson also says,
Yeah,
"Hi,
and to
guys."
some
hi."
extent-
But Jordan Peterson's always crying.
Yeah, no. It's so interesting. It's such an oxymoron. That dude will go and stand in front of a whole Senate and break everything down, and then in the next video he's crying. It's such a
but I mean-
it's such a beautiful. It's yo, dude. That dude is like strong, but he's also able to be in touch.
yeah,
Your
but
body
that's, I
cries.
mean, that's
shame.
and I feel like that is
Yo.
strength.
It is.
Yeah, because-
it is.
I don't
because-
know, fam. Like, I think if you cry once or twice, that's cool, man.
No, bro. But
It's
when
when
I'm
was the
still
last
crying.
time you cried? Like,
I cried the other day. I was watching a movie. I was crying,
He's
man.
old, guys. He's getting old.
I'm like,
But you see, my point is exactly that,
Pumbaa.
though, Rex. It's exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
It's there has to be a healthy dose of being a man.
No, there
you know
has
what
to
I
be.
mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like we have to
balance, man,
remember
the
that
balance,
we're men.
100%.
And at some point, like you have to take responsibility for some
Yeah.
shit.
I remember.
You can't just like
I
keep-
like what- I
you
like
can't
that.
just keep flying through life and be like, you know, I never got this and I never got
No,
that. I never
no.
got, I never- like,
35-year-old
like you know
saying,
what?
I'm broke because I didn't go to private school. Get it together, Baba. Hello.
Yeah, exactly, bro.
That
You're
Like,
goes on.
35. It
That
doesn't
goes
matter
on.
anymore.
hey, bro, it matters.
no,
No,
it
no,
does
take
not.
responsibility. No,
No,
no, no, no.
bro.
Fix your life.
And I feel like
Aye.
I feel like this just goes across the board. Like
Yeah.
like even for women, for men and women alike. I just feel like whenever you realize that like it's almost like people are starting to understand what their behaviors are, and they're starting to understand the root of their behaviors.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of times people would do something and they don't really understand it. And then until someone makes them see it a certain way, then they start understanding,
Okay,
the
cool.
reason why I do this is because
of one,
this
two,
traumatic
yeah.
thing that happened to me, whatever. But it doesn't mean that we're now carrying that thing. Because I mean, like it happened. Like everything happened in
No,
the
that's
past, bro.
that's
you know?
that's this whole mental health wave.
Oh,
that's
my
going on.
word.
Everyone now just.
Yeah,
piggyback.
even
and it's
me.
just so
Oh, it's
annoying
mental
because I
health.
mean, like,
What are we saying then? Are we saying that people shouldn't go into therapy to deal
no,
with their traumas?
people should go into therapy with the responsibility of fixing that shit.
Yeah.
Because
So-
it sounded
so-
like
so-
you need to suppress that.
No. I'm saying what I'm saying is that I feel like it's one thing to know, but it's another thing to fix it, and it's
guy
another thing to progress from knowing and fixing.
I don't expect you to be in therapy for 5 to 10 years, bro.
That's exactly how therapy works. You need to be
No,
there
but
your
here's
whole
the
life.
thing, guys.
No.
All right.
man,
So, guys, let's look
Isn't
at
that the model?
No,
Isn't
hold
that-
on.
They just want your money
So
after
here's the
2
thing.
years.
So here's the thing. If I am a hospital, right? The way I make money is by people being sick on those beds.
Right.
So if my hospital is not filled, I'm not making money. I'm just like a hotel. I make money when people come to the hotel. If I'm a therapist and
I'll
I need to
you-
make money,
I'll make you believe you're not.
prayer, I can fix you in 3 convos, and you're paying me 1,500 per convo. But if I fix you in 10, that's 15,000. I'm gonna take 5 years to fix your issue. So I walk into a place, into a therapist, and he says to me, "How can I help you?" I'm like, "Hey man, I'm overweight." And then he says to me, "For 5 years, how does that make you feel?" "Oh no, people diss me, they
Hey,
bully
Sean.
me." And then they ask me
you're
again,
listening.
"Okay, so how does being bullied make you feel?" And we're 5 years in. Why has he not once has he said, "Let's go to the gym"? Because if he fixes my issue, he doesn't have a client.
Don't need it.
but
man.
So
I don't
so I'm not saying all therapists do that, but I am saying from just a business place, if you do choose a therapist and you must go, be very careful about what exactly you're going to go do in those sessions.
But hold on, man. I don't agree with the narrative of painting therapists in a bad light. Like
No, but I
hold
didn't.
on,
I
let
didn't
me-
say
let
all
me-
of them.
like any of them. Like, that's like saying, look, man, I'm gonna be a dentist,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna invest in cavities.
Yes, that's how I make money. But if there is no
I don't
cavities,
think-
I don't make money.
But I
though.
don't think
It's
that's
the
how
truth.
dentistry works, though. Like, you know what
But
I mean?
it is exactly how Big Pharma works. That's exactly what they do.
But
If you
Big-
don't have a sick community, how are you going to make money?
Well,
You can't. You're going to be broke.
think about it this way, right?
Yeah.
In the South African context,
Okay,
most
cool.
South Africans don't buy medicine.
All right, they steal it. I don't.
No, the government gives it to them for free.
It's free. Remember, with the
It's
government,
not free. The government pays for that. So don't say it's free.
No, he's saying for the end user.
Oh, okay, cool.
So for most people, like whether big pharma wants to make money or not,
Yeah.
in the South African context, like I'll
They're
give
gonna
you
make money.
The example of HIV, right?
Yeah.
HIV drugs are most given in South Africa. South Africa is the place to be if you need any of those kind of drugs. No,
Why you say that?
that's
treated, right?
you know what I mean? Like they could be making a
is
lot
the
of
place
money
to
off
be.
of it,
Yeah.
but this is the place to, like, if you want treatment for
Yeah,
that
yeah.
condition,
100%.
this is the place to be for all those kind of drugs. So there's no incentive for the government or hospitals to do that. So tying it back to therapy, the government provides therapy services at
But
local
but
clinics.
government therapists.
But that's the thing.
Ah,
have you been there? Let's
they're
start
not that lekker, man.
Have you been there?
No, I've been to like proper ones.
No,
Hey.
but you haven't been to the government
No, I
ones.
know they say,
Yeah,
when I put
you
take
can't
In
criticize.
fact, those ones will fix you fast. They say, hey, when I've got 10,000 people here,
so
what's your problem? Go to the gym.
He's being a Mac G here.
Yeah, I'm being a Mac G. I'm being a Mac G. But
you can't project that. Like for example, right? There's a therapist at the local place, like
Sure.
at the local clinic.
Yeah, yeah.
He has his own private practice
Cool.
where people go to pay
Yeah, yeah.
money, but he also does work for the
Yes,
government.
of course, yes.
Same guy. Right? And I mean he's not out here advocating to keep people on treatment for 20 years or anything like that. He's just working. You see what
but
I mean?
we don't know that though.
No,
No.
but
I mean, your point. I think your point is.
We don't know that.
We need, when people go for therapy, they need to have the tools to
Be
actually
intentional.
get better.
True.
Like develop from the thing,
be
and that's
better.
exactly what I was saying about the traumas. To say, if you discover that you picked up a certain habit and now it affects you in your grown up life, and this is because of something that happened to you when you
Yeah.
were 17 years old. It's fine, but let's not stay at the 17-year-old traumatic place. Like,
But
let's,
I mean,
let's
I feel
keep,
like
let's keep moving.
that's like rehab. Like you can go to rehab as many times as you want.
Yeah.
It's only if you want the change. that it will
Exactly.
actually happen.
And I feel like a lot of people celebrate these traumas now
of course, because it's a crutch. It's,
Yeah,
it's a
exactly.
pity point. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's how people use it because everybody's too accepting of these things.
100%.
Kanye West is mentally
Man up,
unstable.
guys.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yo, bro, I
Anderson
don't
does it
care,
right.
bro. I want you to be well. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
be well. But the thing is, and the reason why and I know it sounds so conspiratorial, I just know some dude somewhere doesn't want people to be healthy. When you think about the diet that they give us, when you think about
No,
they
nobody
push
gives you a
hold
diet,
on.
fam.
No,
Hold
no, no,
on. No.
Here's what I'm saying: the things that are accessible to you when you go into the supermarket,
All
right?
right.
So. White bread is cheaper than
No.
that proper whole wheat. What is
White
that?
bread is
The
more
alternatives,
expensive than
right?
brown bread, though.
No, not brown bread. Like there's proper whole wheat made healthy stuff is generally more
But
expensive.
that's because it costs more to produce.
Okay, but the bottom line is it's cheaper to go get the white bread than the healthy stuff.
It's cheaper to get brown bread.
And if I'm the dude who
Brown
is
bread
coming,
is still sugar though.
yeah, it's still bad. It's not. So why? So look at it. So I can look at all the carbs I have. It's white rice, white sugar, brown sugar. It's all. It's slightly different,
Even
but
brown
it's
rice is bad.
it's mostly in the same category. So at the end of the day, who designed or who made it so that I have access to these more easily, and what was their agenda when they designed that? Because if I'm taking all of these grains and they're unhealthy, I get unhealthy. I'm going to need to go on diabetic meds. Then
Hold on,
Big
wait,
Pharma again. Big Pharma makes money.
But hold on, wait. So it's easier to farm maize, right, than it is to farm wheat in Africa. Nah? So maize meal is a faster selling commodity than flour in South Africa.
Okay.
Nah? You can choose to buy bread or you can choose to make pap. Right? Why
Sure.
are there no bakeries that are trying to make bread out of maize? Right? The process is probably more expensive. It's probably more
Etc.
difficult.
Etc. Yeah, yeah.
So those are the reasons
of
why
production.
things like that happen. Supply chains determine how things get here, right? South Africa originally had what's the sorghum, right, as a main grain, as a primary grain.
Yeah.
But we switched it out for corn. Why? Because it's easier to farm corn. And it's more profitable because there's a higher demand for it.
Yep.
And therefore you can push it out easier to other people. It has nothing to do with people getting sick.
So
when people
no, I hear you, but I'm saying that to say that there is no plot or some sort of unseen hand moving people from sorghum to maize. Who made that policy? Who decided that we needed to do that? Who was it? Was it a decision that was made purely from profit?
Yes.
Okay, but who's profiting?
The people selling the sorghum.
Yes, but who's gonna get sick?
No, it doesn't. That's inconsequential to the discussion.
So people getting sick. So people getting sick is inconsequential.
That's a side thing. It's like saying, look, I'm gonna start a casino here. If
Yes.
people are losing their homes,
That's
not what.
No, but the person who started the
You started a
casino,
business.
but the person who started the casino is going to benefit if people come and start losing their
If I'm starting a
houses,
bottle
right?
store, I'm not out here trying to make sure people are in car accidents drinking and driving. That's not the
No,
main
no.
objective.
I hear you,
less
but
customers.
that's a chain of reaction. It's a reaction based on the decision the guy who's starting it has made. If you don't open a bar and open a church, right? The ripple effect of that is hopefully, if it's not a give me seed, Papa Church, right? we're gonna have people who are gonna be
Give
in a
me
different
sorghum
space.
seeds.
Yeah, hey, that's dope, right? So there's a lot of variables. There's a lot of things that I will say I don't understand. But when I look at the way things play out, there has to be something other than it was just a profit. There has to be something. It can't be.
Like
Nah.
But bro, you put yourself in those shoes.
Let me
though.
put you.
No,
put it
of
back
course
to
I would
bottle
still do
stores.
it. I would still do it.
Right.
But I would know that I'm doing it because I want to make a
Bro,
profit.
I don't think Tops is out here like, yo, bro, we need to get them accident numbers higher.
Yeah.
No, but it is. No. I agree with that. I'm not saying that Tops is doing that, but what Tops wants to do is get as many people addicted to alcohol as possible in their lifetime, so they can increase those profits.
Yes.
So that's the thing. And so why is that not the same as a person who's got a hospital, who then says there's a COVID, so everyone can get sick and he makes money and he comes with the antidote.
But correlation.
all I'm saying.
Correlation is not causation.
You don't know. Fine, but what I'm getting at is there are powers and people in this world that want people to be sick, people to be addicted, people to be in a bad space.
I agree with him.
Yeah.
In an aspect where I think there was a lady, I just don't remember her name, but there was a lady who was interviewed, an elderly lady, who was talking about how South Africa, like alcohol, has been driven.
I saw that.
Yeah, in South Africa for the past 10 years, especially to women. Now that women,
I saw that.
Yeah,
Or making it women
women are
sexy
the
for women to
highest
drink.
had the highest consumers of alcohol. Is it in the world or in Africa? I'm
I
not
think
too
in
sure.
South Africa. I mean,
I think in South
In
Africa.
Africa,
Yeah, we can't
So
be bigger
this
than
has been
Germans,
an initiative
yo.
that's been pushed on the country for the past 10,
Deliberately,
15 years,
intentionally.
to a point where women are aspiring to be these bottle girls and the influencers with the alcohol, and
So
that's the in thing now.
So that's the thing. So yes, the person who's doing that.
It's now like a desired profession or business.
Oh my word! Wow, that's really sad.
So
I mean, to be honest, you know,
So in that
to be
aspect-
honest,
It's a tragedy.
I get that, and I feel like there's. I mean, if you look at anything and everything, you can find a capitalist angle to
Somewhere,
it.
yeah.
Because there's gonna be someone who's gonna make money.
Yeah, big money.
But I think the other thing that's there to consider is the fact that there are people who are just going to find opportunity in exactly what society looks like, right? And they don't, like what Rex is saying, they don't necessarily think of the negative result
they
in
don't-
mind.
well, they don't care.
No,
When
they don't
get
care.
it, They just don't
They
care.
just don't care.
They just
It's
look
not
at the
their
numbers.
business.
Yeah, and it's a numbers
It's
game.
not their business. If
But
people
I
die,
feel like as men, what we're not doing enough of is just taking the responsibility. I feel like we
agree.
just generally defer responsibility, whether it's vices, whether it's bad behavior amongst friends, family,
Always
whether
find
it's just on
someone
an
to blame.
individual perspective,
Yeah,
like
we
just
defer.
personal
No, we do.
discipline or
We-
whatever.
we do defer.
Because my just tracking back to all of the things that I felt like I was addicted to and then snapped out of, I think it had a lot to do with sitting with myself and being able to have an uncomfortable conversation with myself and being able to figure out, okay, do I actually want to do this? Do I really want to do this? Why am I doing this? Like questioning yourself. And I feel like a lot of people in today's society just generally don't do enough of that, because then we would always see a positive transformation in people's lives if there was that general sense of
Yeah.
I'm responsible for my brotherhood, for my community, for my family.
Yep.
You know, I used to smoke
Yeah.
like cigarettes. Like that never used to be a thing for me. Like I used to say when I was still a good church boy, I used to say if I see a chick and she's a 10 and she pulls out a cigarette, she's a 2. I was so sure that that's how I was
Rex
going to
is
be
like those
for the
standards are too
rest
tight.
of my life. Like I was sure I was going to be like that for the rest of my life. And then one day it's raining and I cannot sleep until I smoke a cigarette. And I'm standing in the middle of by the corner because it's also raining outside and I don't want to smoke inside the house. And now I'm busy smoking. And I asked myself,
Yeah, this is the rest
How
of
did
my
we
life.
get here, bro?
How did we get here?
Good
I asked
question.
myself.
Yeah, but you see, I
Yeah.
feel like we don't ask ourselves the
You
question.
don't.
No, true.
So when it
The
comes to
choice is
vices,
yours
when
at
it
the
comes
end
to
of the day.
we really have this general thing. Like I remember one of the most profound quotes I ever heard in my entire life was it's a men's meeting. Like it was just a quick
Yeah.
we need to have a men's meeting. It was a church thing, so
Yeah.
to me it was very oh my gosh.
Again.
Now we're doing this
Way-
church thing, right? Then this guy just stands up and he's like, yeah, we want to do a men's meeting and I just feel like it's important for us to sort of, share notes and kind of stand with each other because I feel like we complain too much. And I was like,
Wow,
what?
that's
And
crazy.
then he's like, because you see the thing with complaining is that every time you complain about anything, you defer responsibility to someone else
Okay.
or something else. Dude, I stopped listening and I froze and I was just like, every time you complain, you defer responsibility.
You do.
Do you know what that means? It means that every time you complain about a thing, you don't want to be part of the solution. You don't want to fix it. You are not thinking about a way forward. You're not being progressive in that.
Making
You are
excuses.
actually choosing to be a spectator and raising your volume so you can say what you think
Yeah.
about it. And for me, that was probably one of the most masculine things I've ever heard of because it made me look at life completely different.
Yeah.
Because now when I hear someone just generally complain like
I
2-3 times,
struggle.
I'm
I
just like,
struggle. I struggle with that. I
I'm not here
really.
anymore.
So basically, it's your choice to go and buy that donut, to go in Tops to have that, to buy that.
I don't know why they. I don't know why they honors fam or like what donuts. Why do you?
No, because they don't. Because we got donuts.
We got donuts. Can we stop the podcast and have some? I don't.
We're having it on the break, and actually we need
Yes.
to break now.
Are we gonna break now? Yeah. But I wanted to say something before we go and break that. It's like, and I use this a lot, particularly for African people who say, "Oh no, I'm not doing well because umang mang wang lawyer. They're sending,
Yeah,
they're bewitching me.
Yeah.
They're sending stuff. That's why you see my life hasn't progressed. No, fam, but you go to work late every day and you got fired from your 5 different jobs. Sometimes people blame the devil, and the devil is
that's
busy
an easy
playing
way
in
out.
golf. And he's like, nah, guys, I didn't have
This one
anything
is
to do
not
with
me,
it.
fam.
That's not me.
It's like, I
Right?
don't even know that guy.
Bro, if you
And-
can have 5 different jobs, hey, look,
No, it's a problem.
ain't nobody
At
bewitching
some
you.
point, that's you. But it's easier, like you're saying. It's so much easier to defer rather than
course.
to take responsibility and say, look, I need to change and be better. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
That was a great episode.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
Are we pausing?
depth,
Oh,
I think,
are we out of?
Yeah,
No,
no.
we're gonna go-
We're still recording. We're still recording.
No, you can see that is new to this. Guys.
Definitely into this. But
I
guys,
want to take off my shirt and everything. I'm like, oh my god.
One of his vices.
guys, we want to thank you for watching the show. So please like, subscribe, comment,
Absolutely. Yeah.
share thoughts. Let us know what you guys think. And we'd like to thank our guests, Rex
thank you,
and
yeah.
Eli,
Thank you to Rex
for coming
and Eli.
through. Thank
Yeah,
you
for
guys.
sure. Thank you for having us, man.
No,
Really
no,
appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Guys,
you
put
so
down
much.
what your vices are, how
Yeah.
you got into
Take
them.
responsibility, guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
How you
Take
got out.
ownership.
Yeah,
You did get out.
and I mean, put it in the comments. Maybe it might help somebody to make a different choice. As well.
Absolutely.
Sure, man.
All right, cool, man.
No, from us, guys, we're out.
Thank you. Cheers.
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 The motherland, the African man. Long as I'm alive, I'ma make a plan. Strongholds to break, got long walks to take, got no votes to make. We don't bet, we pray. Hey, African man, yeah. African man, yeah. African man.